So this example is going to be for Boyle's law. Let's read the problem and then plug in our givens and plug them into the equation so that we can see what we're doing. It says a container of gas has a volume of 5 liters and a pressure of 100 kPa. That's kilopascals. The container is taken up to a higher altitude and the pressure drops to 50 kPa. What will be the volume of the gas at that pressure? So the first thing we have to do is we have to figure out what our givens are. The equation for Boyle's law is P1 times V1 equals P2 times V2. The first thing that they give us is this volume of 5 liters. We're going to call that our V1. It says that this gas, this 5 liters of gas, has a pressure of 100 kPa. So this will be our P1. The container is then taken up to a higher altitude, and it says the pressure drops to 50 kPa. So this was the second pressure value they gave us, so that's going to be our P2. We will then solve for this other volume. So we have to solve then for this V2. So this is the variable that we're trying to solve for. We're going to take these numbers and we're going to plug them into our equation. So P1 was 100 kilopascals. So 100 kilopascals. We're then going to multiply it by the V1. So our V1 was 5 liters. We're going to multiply it by these 5 liters. This then will be equal to P2, which is the 50 kilopascals. And then we're going to need to multiply that by the V2. I'm just going to slide this down here so we can get it all on one line. We need to multiply this by the V2. This is the variable that we're trying to actually solve for. So that's how we plug the numbers into our equation. Once we have the numbers plugged into our equation, it's just doing some math to solve for V2. Notice that on this side of the equation, we have two numbers, so we could take this and simplify and multiply those two together. So the 100 kPa times the 5 liters, this will give me the value of 500 on this side of my equation. This is going to be equal to still this here. We can't simplify and reduce this down, so the 50 times the V2. If I want to solve for V2, I need to get V2 all alone or by itself. Currently, it's being multiplied by 50, so I need to remove the 50 from this side of the equation. If it's being multiplied by 50, we have to do the opposite, which means we're going to divide it by 50. If I do that to this side of the equation, I need to do it to the other side as well. So we're going to divide both sides of the equation by 50. The 50 will cancel out on this side, and then I can do the math over here. 500 divided by 50, my V2 will then be 10 liters. That's how you solve for Boyle's law, right? We plug them into the equation and then solve for the variable that you're trying to look for. Notice that in this example, volume started at 5. My volume changed to 10 liters. So the volume in this example was increased. When I started, my pressure was 100. My pressure decreased to 50. So when my volume was increased, we saw that my pressure was decreased. And that's why we say that Boyle's law is an inverse relationship. When one is increased, the other is decreased. That'll take care of this video for Boyle's law. Talk to your teacher if you have any questions.